We are all slaves of our own habits. So if we're slaves of our own habits, then why not develop good habits that make us slaves of good habits, which eventually give us good, strong character traits and build our character? Think about that. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Purpose Over Pleasure podcast with your host, Alex Payne. And today, I want to talk about the 5 things that I believe every man needs to master. So, I was writing out some notes for today's episode. And the reason why I thought about making this episode is because just yesterday I had a situation where I had to utilize a few of these things that I'm about to discuss in order to have a very productive, very diplomatic, very sort of a professional, business, yet emotional and effective communication with a person with whom I was doing a business deal with. And the communication started because of an issue that arose in business. And that person, who's older than me, who's been in business for decades before me, tried to pressure me into something that I did not think was fair and I did not think was necessary or I agreed with doing. So I had to use my effective communication and I had to use my emotional intelligence, my negotiating skills, and have a financial literacy to back it up to successfully navigate that communication, that discussion, that conversation, and eventually end up on top and having that person leave the conversation happy and hopefully we continue doing business together for the benefit of both of our companies. And so today I'm going to talk to you guys about the 5 things that I believe every man needs to master going forward in their life, whether you're in your early 20s, 30s, 40s, whether you're in business or you're a 9 to 5, whether you're married or single. These are the things that I had to learn on my own from others, from reading books, from watching the different podcast episodes, from having business mentors. These are the things that helped me out in life and the things that I believe every single one of you gentlemen and ladies could definitely utilize going forward in your personal and professional lives. So stick around. I'll talk about 5 different things. And the last one is extremely important, maybe the most important thing that I will discuss and reveal to you guys. But stick around to the end of this episode. It's going to be a short one, but it's going to be a very effective one. So let's dive right into it. The first thing that I think every man needs to master is the art of effective communication. Now, it sounds fancy, the art of effective communication. Alex, what is that? Can you just say, that we need to know how to speak? Yeah, we need to know how to speak. We need to know how to articulate our thoughts. We need to know how to articulate our emotions, our beliefs. Communication is extremely important. So being able to articulate thoughts and listen actively, also, it's very important. You got to be able to listen actively. It's very important, and that can open doors to you and bring opportunities and nurture relationships and ultimately improve your relationships, improve your work, a 9 to 5, improve your business, improve your relationship with others, your friends, your coworkers, your teammates, and everybody around you. The art of effective communication requires patience, requires active listening, requires understanding, requires empathy, requires not being judgmental, requires being willing to put your ego aside and think clearly and being stoic. That's a very important part as well. But when you want to build and nurture a relationship with others, understand that, especially in business, understand that things are not always going to go your way. People are not always going to do what you want them to do. People might not have the same standards, high standards as you, and people just will not do what you want them to do, even if you're paying them to do it. But being able to articulate what you want a person to do or articulate your own thoughts and feelings without anger, without resentment, without irritation, frustration, annoyance, all of that is part of effective communication. But at the same time, you have to be able to listen to that person, because communication is not just a one-way street. You can't just talk, even if you talk effectively. No, you have to pause. You have to be willing to listen to the other person's perspective completely and entirely. Let them talk, hear them out, be diplomatic about it, be empathetic about it, understand where they come from, outweigh your options to see is this worth me going into a battle for? Is this a whisper or is this a cry? Can I just let this go if this costs me a couple of $100, a couple $1,000, or should I stand firmly in what I believe in and go about this to the very end? When the other person is speaking, listen to them and understand them. While you're doing that, also think about what your point and what your perspective is and how you can relate to that person, yet not downgrade your own standards and your own beliefs and values. That is all effective communication. I understand it's a lot. So what I suggest you gentlemen begin with active listening. The point of any debate or argument or a conversation is not to prove your point. The point of a debate is to be able to understand the other party. Even if you don't agree with them, at least you understand them, which will hopefully make you more aware of why that person is bothered or why that person wants something from you. And after you realize that, you can then articulate whether you agree with them or you don't agree with them, or you can find a common solution. So begin simply with active listening and begin with being able to articulate your thoughts and emotions without getting emotional or frustrated about it. The thing number 2 is financial literacy. That's an important one. And I think every person, every adult needs to master financial literacy. Unfortunately, the school system doesn't teach you that. Your parents probably never taught you that. Your friends never taught you that. And your spouse most of the time will have no idea about it either. So nobody out there will really teach you financial literacy. I had to learn financial literacy on my own. I didn't learn in school. I didn't learn from my parents. I only learned it by myself. Learn how to budget. Learn how to manage money. Learn how to invest. Learn how to avoid debt. Learn how to, once you become more confident with financial literacy, learn how to leverage debt for your business. Because all of that allows you to plan for the future. And if you consider yourself an entrepreneur, or if you consider yourself the type of person who wants to have a retirement plan, who wants to secure your future, who wants to not have to depend on the government and Social Security, then you have to learn financial literacy. Know how to use credit cards, know how to budget your money, know how to utilize debt, for example. Because I know people who make a lot of money. I know a doctor who makes very, very comfortable living, at least $500,000 a year, but they're still not happy. Their bills are way over their head. I know a business owner that's making good money, but every year it comes out almost negative or barely even because he doesn't know how to properly invest the money. Now, it's slightly different when it comes to business. As an entrepreneur myself, I understand what it's like to have to leverage debt, to have to utilize taxes to your advantage legally, to have to be able to pour money back into the business for years before you start making profit from it. But at the very basis, before you even tap into the business, you have to know how to manage money, how to budget your finances. Because if you don't, you're going to dig yourself a massive hole and you're going to bury yourself in debt and you're going to become a slave. You're going to become a slave, a financial slave to the system, because that's what they want you to be like. Understand that even though the slavery nowadays doesn't exist, or maybe it does in some third world countries, but you are a slave to the financial system, to the banking system, to the central banking system. That's how they get you by the balls. You become a financially enslaved. And that's the worst type of enslavement you want to have. Because then you're forced to work for the rest of your life until retirement, hopefully up to retirement, not after, and just sacrifice and give away your life to work for somebody else, to make somebody else profit, to make somebody else's business grow. Unless you learn financial literacy, you will not be able to secure your own future and you will not be able to live the life you want. So I highly suggest mastering financial literacy. Number three is kind of related to number 1, but I think it's extremely important, especially when it comes to your relationship. Number 3 is EQ. EQ is emotional intelligence. Now, we all know about IQ, right? Einstein has a certain IQ. Tesla had certain IQ. Elon Musk has a certain IQ. But EQ is just as important as IQ. EQ is a measure of your emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence allows you to master stress. I'll give you an example. For example, last year in 2024, I had a visit to emergency room. I had shingles, and I had my first ever panic attack at the age of 35. All in 1 year. All in 1 year. And all of that was due to the fact that I was very stressed out, that I had a lot on my plate. As a matter of fact, now, today in January of 2025, I have even more on my plate. But I am more emotionally intelligent. I am more prepared, and I have the tools in my bag in order to deal with the stress that I have. But back then I didn't. I had no idea how to manage stress. And because I didn't have the proper emotional intelligence, and because I didn't know what I know now about how to balance stress, I ended up in the hospital. I ended up with shingles. I ended up with a panic attack. So unless you learn emotional intelligence, you will not really be able to manage your stress. It's very important. And also, another factor, an important factor to be emotionally intelligent is because you don't want to seem immature, impatient, and like a loose cannon to other people. I've had those situations. I had a situation where I had an employee that I've given him a task, and he completely failed to do what I told him to do. And not only did that person try to lie to me to get out of it, they also told me that they now have to leave because they got other stuff to do. And they couldn't give me a direct answer to every single question I asked about if they completed the task or not. So I reacted in a way that I told them, I used the F word and I said, listen, can you stop fucking with me and answer my questions, because you haven't answered any single one of my questions and you're lying to me now. So stop jerking with me and answer my questions. And now, did I have the reason? Did I have the sort of the reason to use that word? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But I allowed myself to lose a little bit of temper. Although I didn't curse at that person, I used the curse word in order to let them know that they need to stop lying to me. And they need to start giving me honest answers. Otherwise, they're about to be fired. I allowed myself to become emotionally unintelligent for a brief moment. What I should have done instead is remain stoic in the face of adversity, in the face of frustration, irritation, and being extremely annoyed by my employee. I should have still remained stoic and just let that go and then deal with them the next day properly through HR and get them fired. Long story short, I'm not working with that person anymore. But the lesson that I learned is that as a man, as a leader, as a boss, as a husband, you name it, I need to be more emotionally intelligent. And so I believe every man should be emotionally intelligent, especially when it comes to business. You gotta be able to control your emotions. You gotta be stoic, and you gotta be clear-headed in the face of adversity, which is what I had to implement yesterday when I was sitting and I was communicating with a person who's been in business for decades, has made millions of dollars, but that person clearly tried to pressure me into something I didn't want to do. So I had to remain stoic, clear-headed, be an active listener, and have effective communication, and also know my financial literacy because numbers had to make sense for me. So I had to utilize all of those key points in order to have an effective communication, in order to resolve that problem and continue my relationship with that person in the future, and hopefully we can continue doing business together. But I would not have been able to accomplish that doing a debate with that person had I not had effective communication skills, active listening, financial literacy, and especially emotional intelligence. Had I allowed my ego to get out, had I lost my patience, had I not been stoic and clear-headed, conversation might have ended in differently, and I probably might have regretted that afterwards. But luckily, at this point in my life, I've been practicing those character traits, and they served me well yesterday. Number four thing that I think every man needs to manage is time management. Now, time management is crucial. I cannot tell you guys how many hours, days, and weeks, months, and maybe even years I've spent doing stupid things in my life. Absolutely fucking useless things in my life, such as, and some of you might not like this, but I'm going to keep it real with you, such as spending time with promiscuous women, binge watching seasons at the time, hours of playing video games, just doing absolutely nothing, screen sucking off of this device for hours at a time, for hours at a time. I mean, you name it, I've done it all. I've done it all. And my time management skills were poor. They were actually pretty horrible. And no wonder I felt depressed. No wonder I felt like I fucking don't have a reason and a purpose in my life. No wonder I felt like I hated myself. I had no respect for myself. I had a belly. I looked like shit. I felt like shit. I acted like shit. I talked, and my character was just a bunch of excuses and anger issues, and I did not like myself. The bottom line is I did not like myself, and I was not happy because I was missing crucial things in my life, such as purpose, and I had very, very, very poor time management skills. So as a man, as a leader, you have to have good time management skills, because that leads to growth in personal and professional life, that leads to development without the burnout. Okay, you need to prioritize tasks, because 20% of your tasks drive 80% of your results. Prioritize, eliminate, and delegate. Prioritize the tasks that drive 80% of your success. Delegate the stuff that you know your time is not worth doing, and eliminate things that do not drive the needle, do not move the needle. So learn those three things. I'm still learning this every day. I'm still learning from my business partner, from my mentor coaches, from my business coaches. It's extremely important. And one thing that I want to mention to you guys is that understand that your character develops based on the habits that you have. We are all slaves of our own habits. So if we're slaves of our own habits, then why not develop good habits that make us slaves of good habits, which eventually give us good, strong character traits and build our character? Think about that. If you have shitty habits, if you wake up late, if you don't work out, if you eat garbage food, if you screen suck off of your phone, if you watch porn, if you do all this kind of shit and your habits are poor, your character is going to be poor, people won't respect you, and you won't amount to shit in life. Let's be honest. I've done all that. Now develop habits that are good. Wake up early, work out, eat clean, don't screen suck, eliminate the hours you spend on your phone, scrolling, watching TV, binge watching episodes at a time. Eliminate all of that. Have good habits, because good habits will turn your character into somebody who you respect and others will respect, because you respect yourself, you have confidence in you. And you have confidence in you have competence in you as well. And with those two, you won't be afraid to take another step. You won't be afraid to go after things that seem impossible to achieve before. No, you'll have the confidence and the competence in yourself, in your own skills, your own abilities. You will believe in yourself and you'll go after it. I promise you. Why? Because I've been there. I've done all that. I'm still mastering myself. I'm still developing myself every single day. And every month, every few months, every quarter, I try to develop new habits. For example, this year I started a new habit. As a matter of fact, I started this habit in December of last year. Going into this year, I wake up at 4:44 in the morning every day. Now, there's a few times that I didn't wake up at that time, and I reported that to my accountability partner because I needed rest. I work a lot, and sleep is my kryptonite, so I had to a few times sleep past 4:44 in the morning and get some sleep. Otherwise, I would not be functioning the next day. But for the most part, still every week, week after week, I wake up at 4:44 in the morning. I do not touch my phone. This fucking device, don't grab it the first second you open your eyes. What I do now is this. And again, this is a habit I started in December going into January of this year. I wake up, I get up, brush my teeth, use a restroom, drink my 500 milligrams of water with vitamin C. Then I go do a 10 to 13 minute, I'm trying to increase it now, 10-minute breathing meditation. Then I pray, and only then, like half an hour after waking up, I grab this device. Because the second I grab this device, shit show starts. Because I'm here on the West Coast, I have clients on the East Coast, they're already awake. My team is awake. My emails are pouring in. Text messages are pouring in. My business partner is awake hella early. That fucking guy doesn't even sleep. Yeah, Kevin, I'm talking about you, bro. I love you, but man, you're crazy. But that's why I love you. And so the shit show starts the second I grab my phone. So why would I grab this device the second I open my eyes? When I'm still trying to wake up, when my brain is in, theta or whatever waves are, and I look at this phone and it's chaos. So I'm using this phone to bring all this chaos directly into my mind when my mind is fresh and I just woken up. No wonder I had feelings of stress and anxiety and overwhelm. No, now I have a routine. I wake up, I do my thing, I ground myself, I meditate, I breathe, I pray, and then I grab this and I'm ready for war. I'm ready for whatever the day is going to bring my way. So far, it's been working for me. But I tell you this to show you that that's a habit. That is a habit that I implemented, and I am slowly becoming a slave of that habit, and I love it. It's making me more productive, more resilient, more focused, it gives me the ability to manage stress, and the list goes on. So do you see the pattern here now? And then the last thing, the thing number 5 that I want to talk about that I told you guys to stick around to listen to, which I think is extremely important, maybe even more important than the other 4 things I talked about, is resilience and adaptability. Every man, every person, but every man in particular must master resilience and adaptability. Resilience because life is never going to be fucking easy. Understand that life is not going to be easy, ever. What happens is that you become stronger. You become more resilient. You're able and capable of taking on more, carrying more weight on your shoulders. I'll be honest with you guys. This year, 2025, started off at a 50 or 100 miles an hour. It did. And if I didn't have the skills that I have now, if I didn't have the stress management skills that I have now, if I didn't have the resilience that I've developed over the last decade or two, if I didn't have the adaptability skills that I have now, I would have probably already had another panic attack. But I have those skills. I've worked on myself for over a decade. See, my overnight success, that people like to call it sometimes, is a decade. It's more than a decade. Today, I'm sitting here comfortably talking to you guys in my own podcast studio, telling you about this and that, and drive a nice car, and I have a family and a podcast and a business, and I do public speaking. That didn't come in a day. That didn't come in a month. That didn't come in a year. That came after years. After years of developing resilience, practicing resilience, being adaptable, being able to cope with setbacks in life, being able to overcome challenges in life, and being able to thrive in various environments and situations, and embracing the opportunities that come our way. All that took some time. All that took practice. All that took hard work. All that took energy and active participation in saving my own ass. Nothing will be handed to you the way you want it to be handed to you. You have to take what you want from life. And it's not always going to go on your terms. It won't. Sometimes you might even get what you want. But the difference between winners and losers is that winners don't fucking stop going after what they want to go. And losers accept the fact that they failed. And that is failure. No man who's ever accepted failure has failed. There's no such thing as failure. Failure is only in your mind accepting the fact that you failed. I have had many setbacks in my life. Shit has gone sideways many times in my life. Just this week, today is Saturday, my day to record content. Just this week, more than once, shit hit the fan. Setbacks in business, setbacks in personal life, setbacks in relationship, setbacks in some finances, in some deals that got wrong. You name it. But hey, what I do? I effectively communicated. I knew my financial literacy. I had my emotional EQ. I remained stoic. I knew how to time manage because I was a slave of my good habits, and I was resilient, and I knew how to adapt. Now you see why all these are important? You see? You follow the pattern? So you have to practice these things every single day. Look in the mirror and practice these things. When you wake up, it's like, what am I doing today? Okay, I have to work on effective communication. Pick one thing at a time. Don't try to sit there and say, Alex said do all these 5 things at a time. I'm going to implement them all the time. No, pick one. Pick one. Start today, pick one of these 5 things or 2 and practice for the next 3 weeks, 21 days. Statistically, they say if you do this thing for 21 days, if you develop a habit and if you practice a new habit for 21 consecutive days, it becomes a habit for life. As a matter of fact, that's true because I've woken up at 4:44 every single day for 21 days. Guess what? Now my body starts to naturally sometimes wake up before my alarm goes on. Riddle me that. My circadian rhythm, whatever. I don't care what you call it. But at least 21 days. Pick one of these things. Practice it for 21 days. For 21 days, learn financial literacy. For 21 days, be an active listener. For 21 days, wake up at 6 in the morning and not grab your phone for the first 20, 30 minutes. For 21 days, be resilient and understand that when things happen, they don't happen to you, they happen for you. And the list goes on. And then come back to me and tell me if that helped you out of life or not. I guarantee you, you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel more confident in yourself. You're going to feel more competent in yourself. You're going to believe in yourself, and then good things will come your way. And at the very least, if you fail, which I doubt, I highly doubt you'll fail, you will learn things. You will learn things. Because I like to say this, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. Have the mindset of being a forever student. Understand that failure is only in your head. And yes, sometimes you win, but sometimes we learn. We don't fail. We don't lose. We learn. And I'll break it down something for you that is the truth. You might not like it. It might suck hearing this, but as a man, understand that sometimes in life, you're just going to suck for you. It will suck. And you have to embrace it. You have to embrace it for a certain period of time, day, week, month, year, hopefully not that long. It will suck for you. Like right now, my life, some would call that it's very stressful and maybe I'm going through a very, very tough part of my life. But hey, I'm so happy. It's a mindset. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I have a roof over my head. I have food on my table. I am grateful. Why? Because every challenge I'm going through right now, every test, and I'm being tested spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially, I'm being tested like crazy right now. But I understand that's a test that's being done for me in order for me to level up in life as a leader, as a husband, as a father, as a brother, as a business owner, you name it. Every situation you go through is teaching you something. So embrace it. Be resilient. Be adaptive. And I promise you, if you master these skills, at least one or two or all of them, hopefully all of them over time, I promise you, your life will change for the better. Now, thank you for guys for sticking around. I kept it nice and short. Every time I make an episode, I try to pretend that I'm talking to a younger version of myself or I'm talking to my future son. But this is how I relate to you guys. I've been that guy. Everything I'm giving to you guys is something that I've struggled with, that is something that I still struggle with and trying to overcome. And this is my way of giving back and trying to share with you guys the knowledge and the wisdom that I've developed over the years, because I did not have anybody like myself growing up in my early 20s. And I wish I did. Now in my 30s, I'm blessed. I'm grateful to have mentors, business partners. But I am doing this and talking to you guys because I imagine that I would have been a lot further in life now had I had somebody like me telling me these things when I was in my early 20s and my mid 20s. So if you found some value in this, please click like. Please share this with others who you think would need to hear this, and subscribe to my channel. And I appreciate you guys being here. I hope this year started off great for you. God bless, and never stop working on yourself and developing yourself into a better person. See you guys next time.